For more on this, let's bring in Taha Arvas, a financial columnist at the Daily Sabah. He joined us from Van in eastern Turkey. Taha, thank you so much for joining us here on Money Talks. Turkey was one of the fastest growing economies in 2017, but 2018 was clearly a very much different story. Was this just a correction? What were some of the factors that led to this?
I think there was, as the report came out today, there was a steeper than quicker, we can call it a correction in that the growth in the previous year was, gangbusters. Turkey was one of the fastest growing countries in both the region and globally. So there was a slowdown, and I think that came mostly because of the currency crisis in the summer. But the thing that's important to note is that this data that's coming out today was from the last quarter of 2018. Have things changed since then? We hope so. I mean, I hope so. And like you said, I think it was because of the currency crisis at the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm. So what is the government doing to stimulate growth and fight inflation?
I missed the last question. I apologize. Can you
repeat
the last question?
What is the Turkish government doing to stimulate growth and fight inflation?
The first thing they're doing is they're encouraging government banks and private banks as much as they can to lend to consumers, to firms that need to borrow. This is the most important thing, and for the first time in actually a month, we've seen that private bank borrowing has gone up, and lending has gone up, and public bank lending has increased. So these were important steps. It took several months for that to happen, but these are very indicative, hopefully, of a turnaround in the economy. If this had not happened, then it would have been much worse. And it's very good that these events occurred, and they occurred right after the ECB came out with a note last week saying that the European economies were in much more trouble than they thought, and they would continue to accommodate and decrease interest rates or keep them artificially low for the foreseeable future. So that really helped Turkey out.
Mm-hmm. So what does this mean, first of all, for investors? And then also, how does this affect people every day in terms of rising prices, employment, et cetera?
Right. So investors, especially institutional investors, take a much closer, follow the economies of these countries that they invest in much more closely. So I spoke to many fund managers in the last week, including today, at global banks. These are multi-billion-dollar banks with multi-billion-dollar investments in Turkey, and they say they have daily tracking algorithms and calculations based on what they see internally in Turkey. And they say in the last 3 months they've seen a turnaround, and they've seen a much better performance for the Turkish economy than they had anticipated. And they're very much bullish, which surprised even me, frankly. And that's great news. As far as the normal person, as far as the person on the street, the person on the street, the average person wants to be reminded or to be given hope for future economic growth. As long as they see a positive growth in the future, then they continue to consume, and consumer consumption is a very important part of the Turkish economy, as it is any economy.
All right, Taha Arvas joining us live from beautiful Van in eastern Turkey. Thank you so much, Taha.